from Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, moving Lagos forward.
Good morning. Here is the news at 10. First, the highlight. Lagos State Government commences second round of National Immunization Plus Days. Federal Government disburses 1.6 trillion naira to states, Federal Capital Territory for infrastructure and security projects. On the foreign scene, gunman kills 2 first responders in United States fire ambush. And in sport, Nigeria Super Falcons defeats Ghana in friendly game ahead Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. Lagos State Government, through the State Primary Healthcare Board, LSPHCB, in collaboration with its development partners, has flagged off the second round of the National Immunization Plus Days, NIPDs, across all local government areas, LGAs, and local council development areas, LCDAs. Speaking at the flag-off held at the local government area secretariat, wife of the Lagos State Governor, Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, emphasized that the health and development of children are pivotal to the future of any society. Mrs. Sanwo-Olu, who was represented by Oluwatoyin Badejo, noted that the present administration remains unwavering in its commitment to child health and its efforts continue to yield positive results. She also highlighted several initiatives aimed at supporting mothers and children, including free antenatal care, immunization drives, the Ilera Eco Health Insurance Scheme, and nutrition programs. In his remarks, the Permanent Secretary of the LSPHCB, Ibrahim Mustafa, explained that the immunization campaign will span 4 days, with an additional 2 days for mop-up activities to ensure no child is left behind. He added that to ensure the success of the program, a variety of strategies have been deployed, including fixed post teams at primary healthcare centers, house-to-house visits, and transit teams stationed at key public locations such as schools, markets, motor parks, and places of worship. In a bold step to stem the tide of cholera outbreaks in vulnerable areas, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, has launched a grassroots public health campaign in the Ikorodu Division. The initiative, which is in partnership with the United Nations Industrial Development Organizations, UNIDO, and the government of Japan, is tailored to boost health resilience in flood-prone neighborhoods by targeting informal food and water vendors as well as waste handlers. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, Omobolaji Gaji, warned of the severe public health threat posed by cholera, especially in flood-prone regions where poor sanitation allows contaminated water to mix with household supplies. Gaji, who was represented by the Director, Environmental Sanitation, Hassan Sanoth, noted that the combination of Lagos' rapid urbanization and inadequate waste management in certain areas makes outbreaks more likely, underscoring the need for behavioral change and sustained public education to curb the disease. In his address, the General Manager of LASEPA, Babatunde Ajayi, stressed the importance of equipping informal vendors and waste workers with preventive strategies, including hygiene best practices, food safety, and the use of clean water to protect public health. The presidency has described President Bola Tinubu's visit to St. Lucia as a vital diplomatic and cultural engagement aimed at renewing Nigeria's ancestral ties with the Caribbean and strengthening South-South cooperation. Presidential advisor Bayo Ononuga, in a statement, noted that the visit was called a milestone in Nigeria-CARICOM relations, tapping into shared history, especially the mid-19th century migration of Nigerians to St. Lucia. Ononuga stated that the president's trip is part of Nigeria's foreign policy focus on democracy, development, diaspora and demography, because St. Lucia, as headquarters of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States and the CARICOM Gateway, offers strong economic and diplomatic prospects. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has inaugurated a student group to counter violent extremist and insurgency ideologies as part of the non-kinetic approach to conquering ideological-based terrorism in the Northeast region. At a one-day multi-sector conference in Maiduguri, Borno State, the CDS charged students, youths, and the civilian populace to take advantage of the social media space to counter ideologies promoting terrorism and criminalities, thereby threatening the corporate existence of the nation. The conference is a follow-up to a previous meeting in which a project, Students Against Violent Extremism, was launched by 4 students of secondary schools, tertiary institutions, and youths in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. While extolling the role of stakeholders in recording the successes gained in the counterinsurgency operations in the Northeast, the Chief of Defense Staff emphasized the need to recruit youths and students at an early stage to champion counter-insurgency ideologies as a component of the non-kinetic approach to security. Musa charged the youth to be non-combatant soldiers by ensuring intelligence-driven engagement with the troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces while using the power of social media to drive home peace and counterinsurgency advocacy. Now to the rest of the stories. State governments and the Federal Capital Territory received a total sum of 1.6 trillion naira from the federal government between March 2024 and May 2025 as financial support for infrastructure and security projects. According to official records from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, the disbursement, which spanned over 15 months, was aimed at bolstering infrastructure development and strengthening the security operations at the subnational level as part of ongoing efforts to address widespread insecurity and bridge critical infrastructure gaps across the country. The disbursements were made under a special intervention program funded through non-oil revenue savings as part of efforts to ease fiscal pressure on subnational governments and accelerate project execution at the grassroots. Details of the transactions indicated that the total receipts by the federal government over the period stood at 1.7 trillion naira, from which 1.6 trillion naira was paid out to state government and the Federal Capital Territory, leaving a balance of 100 billion naira as of May 16, 2025. The National Health Insurance Authority has sanctioned 49 healthcare facilities and 47 health maintenance organizations in 2024 over violations of its operational guidelines. The authority's Acting Director of Media and Public Relations, Emmanuel Ononobono, in a statement noted that the key issues recorded in the complaints against the healthcare facilities were unavailability of medicines, denial of services, out-of-pocket payment for covered services, and non-provision of payment narrations. He said for the HMOs, the issues were related to delays or denials of referral authorization codes, delays in settlement of agreed reconciled payments, refusal to monitor quality assurance in facilities, and others. According to Ononobono, In 2024, all complaints were fully investigated and responded to within the standard response time of 10 to 25 days. The Oyo State government has reiterated its commitment to fostering a more robust and investor-friendly environment in the state. Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, Musbau Babatunde, stated this during the State Action on Business Enabling Reforms SABA technical session held at the Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. The event was part of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council PEBEC's nationwide tour to strengthen subnational business reforms. Babatunde, who doubles as the state chairman of SABA, explained that there is a need to consistently reform the business environment to attract investors. He said the state embraced the SABA framework as a transformative vehicle for governance reform, private sector engagement, and economic inclusion. Speaking virtually, the Director General of PEBEC, Zara Audu, said that the partnership between the agency and the state would enable the government and stakeholders to adapt, enhance, and strengthen the regulatory environment, particularly through the SABA program. Now to foreign news. 2 United States firefighters have been fatally shot and a third wounded after a man intentionally started a fire and began shooting at first responders in a total ambush which lasted several hours. The gunman, who investigators said acted alone, began shooting after crews responded to a fire at Canfield Mountain, just north of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Law enforcement officers and firefighters took sniper fire during the incident, and a special weapons and tactics SWAT team later located a deceased male close to where the attack took place. The fire grew to 20 acres after it was first reported and continued to blaze into Sunday night. More than 300 law enforcement officers from the city, county, state, and federal levels responded to the scene of the shooting, including 2 helicopters with snipers on board. Now, sport. Nigeria's Super Falcons defeated rivals Black Queens of Ghana 3-1 in a friendly game in Casablanca, Morocco, on Sunday. The game, which was played behind closed doors, is part of the Super Falcons' preparation for this year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Goals from Chiwendu Ihezwo, a penalty from Asisa Toshola, and captain Rashidat Ajibade secured the win for the 9-time African champions. Alice Kusi grabbed a consolation goal for Ghana as she converted an 88th minute penalty. The Super Falcons now remain unbeaten in their last 3 games, scoring 5 goals and conceding just 1. Up next for the Justin Madugu side is the Women's Africa Cup of Nations from July 5 to 26. The Super Falcons, who are in Group B, will open their campaign on July 6 against Tunisia and face Botswana 3 days later. And that is our news at 10. Just before we go, always carry out proper and adequate checks on your vehicle before setting out. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. Visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. You can also listen to Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM live on My Lagos app for timely updates. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration organized a mentorship seminar for over 1,000 youths on the theme Agripreneur Strategy for Wealth Creation? Get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, try the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Government, through the State Primary Healthcare Board, LSPHCB, in collaboration with its development partners, has flagged off the second round of the National Immunization Plus Days NIPDs across all local government areas LGAs and local council development areas LCDAs. State governments and the Federal Capital Territory received a total sum of 1.6 trillion naira from the federal government between March 2024 and May 2025 as financial support for infrastructure and security projects. We also told you that 2 United States firefighters have been fatally shot and a third wounded after a man intentionally started a fire and began shooting at first responders in a total ambush which lasted several hours. And in sports, Nigeria Super Falcons defeated rivals Black Queens of Ghana 3-1 in a friendly game in Casablanca, Morocco on Sunday. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That is the news broadcast compiled by Abiola Fagbolagun. I am Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for listening.